Of the Cannabis Control Board of the City of Jersey City, thank you. Monday, August 8th, 2022 at 5 p.m. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, also known as the Sunshine Law, adequate notice of this meeting was provided by mail and/or fax to the Jersey Journal and the Reporter. Roll call, please. Maynard.
Here.
Commissioner Sally Perkins,
Here.
Commissioner Sloan,
Here.
Commissioner Flanagan.
Here.
And let the record reflect that Vice Chair Kaplowitz is absent. I do believe with excuse he's on vacation. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Can I call the first matter?
Glenda is going to read the statement that we read at every meeting now.
Okay. This is the CCB and its duties. The Cannabis Control Board was created by the Jersey City Municipal Council. The CCB is a result of the council adopting an ordinance. We are not the planning board or the zoning board. Those boards were created by state legislation. The Jersey City Planning Board or the zoning board will hear your application as to zoning and land use development issues. According to Ordinance 22-003, the CCB will consider the following factors in its determination to approve or deny your application: community impact and outreach input, the number of cannabis establishments within close proximity, less than 1,000 feet to the applicant. Just because a cannabis establishment is less than 1,000 feet from your application is not necessarily a negative factor. Each application must be evaluated on a totality of factors and the surrounding neighborhood. Hiring practices employed by the applicant, residency of all applicants/owners, applicants' commitment to diversity and inclusion best practices, safety and security plans. If the board approves the application, the board will issue a preliminary resolution of support. Once the applicant obtains state approval, the applicant must return to the CCB for final approval. The CCB shall provide final written approval or rejection within 60 days. An applicant could obtain preliminary approval from the CCB, obtain state approval, but be denied final CCB approval. According to Ordinance 21-053, the CCB will ensure compliance with local rules and regulations governing cannabis. Jersey City encourages and promotes participation of minorities, women, and disabled veteran-owned cannabis businesses, and by extension, so-called the CCB. The CCB shall require a Class 5 cannabis retail business applicant to address concerns about the proximity of a proposed location to a substance abuse treatment center or a daycare center.
Thank you. If I could call the first matter, CCB 22-17, Green Flamingo.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I need an extra chair. Is it possible?
Good evening, Mr. Mazan. Nice to see you again. Please enter your appearance into the record.
I'm Fuqua Muzan. I'm a partner at Fox Rothschild. I'm here representing Green Flamingo.
Welcome once again. Perhaps you'd like to give the board some brief background as to what we're going to hear this evening?
Sure. Like I said,
Just make sure your microphones are on.
and they're facing us.
Yep, that would be helpful.
Well, like I said, I'm representing Green Flamingo. They'll be located in the Heights.
It's not on.
It's not on.
There you
Now
go.
it's on. Okay. They'll be located in the Heights, 447 Central Avenue. To get it out of the way, not doing consumption lounge, not close to any schools. The nearest school is PS 28. That's more than 1,000 feet away from where we're trying to operate. What I like most about this applicant is they're the most game ready. I think if they got the license today, they'll be open for business by Saturday morning. They've spent the last 2 years getting ready to get this cannabis license. So right now, at the location, these same individuals operate what is called Jupiter Nights, which is a CBD hemp store. And at the CBD hemp store, in case you don't know, CBD is the same thing as cannabis. It just has the lower THC volume. So in the Jupiter Nights, they're selling smokable flower, they're selling gummy worms, they're selling lotions. And if they get this license and they're able to sell cannabis, they'll be selling smokable flower, they'll be selling gummy worms, they'll be selling lotions. So essentially, the same people that are coming right now shopping at Jupiter Nights are the same people that's going to come and shop if they get this cannabis license. They're way ahead of the competition. They got a 2-year head start. So I feel very confident that if they got the license, they will succeed more so than most others that come across.
Are they allowed, if they get the license, are they allowed to do the CBD and the cannabis?
No. It's one or the other.
Okay.
And that was the first question they asked me when they hired me. I was like, no, you can't. Looked it up. You can't do that. So I'd like to introduce the team. To my left is Michael Fernandez. Michael Fernandez is the visionary. He's the entrepreneur that put this whole thing together. And as you see when he speaks, you'll see that he has his heart in the right place. And to my right is Brian Phillipson. He's a local real estate developer. He spent the last 20 years helping build up Jersey City. And he actually owns the building where 447 Central Avenue operates. And to my far right is Detective Victor Cherry, 25 years Jersey City police officer. I like to have retired cops as security and the businesses that I get involved with. Made it to the highest ranking in the department, the special investigative unit, did the mayor detail, everything that you could accomplish. So he's here to talk about security if anyone has any questions.
First witness,
First witness is Michael Fernandez. You like to?
please raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm the testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
You can put your hand down.
I think your microphone's not on. Sorry.
The
Is
light's
it?
on.
Yeah.
Okay.
He just wasn't speaking anything. So
Please, please state your name, spell your last name, give us your address.
Okay. It's Michael Fernandez, Fernandes, 447 Central Avenue.
Your witness.
yes, sir. Mr. Fernandez, why did you decide to get involved in the cannabis business?
There was a few reasons. The main reason that I decided to get involved is at the age of 4, I was diagnosed with ADD and ADHD. At the time, I was prescribed Ritalin and Adderall throughout the years. And I wanted to kind of go into something a little bit more natural. And that's when I got into experiment with cannabis, and I fell in love with what it did for me versus the pills that I was given on a daily basis. And then it just brought a lot of joy to my life. It's improved my life. It's improved people around me's life as well. So it's something that I really believe in.
Thanks. I mentioned that you own the Jupiter Nights and you operate right there, the CBD. How are you treated by the neighbors currently?
If anyone's been to Central Avenue, it's like a family in the neighborhood. All my customers I pretty much know. I'm really close with hundreds and hundreds of locals that come in and out the shop. I'm actually very present in the store. Everybody knows me in the neighborhood. They know when I'm there. I'm close friends with a lot of the neighboring stores. I have a lot of relationship with pretty much everybody in the neighborhood, and it's been great. I could probably fill the whole room with testimonies of my local customers and Jersey City residents.
I believe that's true. He met 5 friends while we were standing outside for 15 minutes. It was like 5 people. I was like, how do you know this guy? I just met him. So I do think he has that salesmanship with him. This committee's big on community involvement. You have a store already operating. How involved are you with the community currently?
So over the last 2 years, I've been pretty involved within Jersey City as much as I can and continue to. I've worked with different organizations. I pretty much try to focus with ones directly in the Heights, and that one is called Kids First. It's a Jersey City's Heights Foundation, and they actually are pretty hands-on in Christmas and Thanksgiving, back to school. So I'm actually able to help thousands of families during those seasons. I've also worked with the Daniel Rivera Foundation. I'm also a sponsor of the Persian Field. I help with the maintenance of the field, which is located on Central Ave, and I also have a baseball team after our location called Jupiter Nights.
That's all the questions I have.
I just want to clarify the record. Although you gave an address of 447 Central, you live at 119 West 72nd Street in Manhattan.
Oh, yeah, in New York.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any questions from board members? Hearing I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I was just going to ask a little bit more about, you said that you're very present in the store. Are you there daily?
Yeah, I'm pretty much
okay.
there like daily. Like, so if we go there right now, you'll see like everyone knows me and Mike. And when I'm not there, they're actually like, hey, where's Mike? You know, so I'm pretty much like, yeah, I'm there every day.
And then your current system, do you have a, like, how do you operate currently with your CBD and education information when people come in? Sort of because that's going to have to change a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it's
so
going to
they
be
get a little sense of.
Well, actually, hemp actually itself is more, they need more information. It's so new. Cannabis, like the full strength, and the medical people have a little bit more information, but CBD and hemp, there's pretty much no one's knowledgeable. So we're continuously every day educating the customers and letting them know. Someone might have tried it somewhere else and they come in here and into my location and they're getting better information, better quality information. So in terms of that, we're able just to give them new information pretty much daily. Every time a new customer comes in, we're filling them in with information.
And so share with us how this current process changes, because there are some changes and, security loops that are not like police security, but security internally in this.
Yeah, so I mean, there will be a change on how we actually run the store. There's going to be actually more employees. There's going to be securities. We got a security director. We have a lot more people on hands to kind of take on this business. So it's going to be different on that sense, kind of just doing this times 10, actually, in terms of the people that's going to be there on a daily basis. And so it's going to be different, but it's going to be, like, I plan to run it the same way in terms of how we deal with the clients, how I interact with the neighborhood. And, Central has, since I've been there, since they redid the streets and the street lights, it's became such a beautiful place. And I always tell people Central Ave is going to be the new downtown of Jersey City, and Jersey City will be the capital of New Jersey. Because that's how much I believe in Jersey City, and I love the Heights, and I love Central Avenue. And yeah, so I plan to pretty much run it the same way, just with more people on hands, which will actually be able to hopefully give people even a better experience.
What's your connection to social justice and equity? As far as hiring and stepping outside of the Heights and coming into more of an impact area of hiring minorities and people who have been incarcerated for marijuana and stuff like that. So what's the process that you have in plan?
Well, as you know, I'm a minority owner, so I'm not sure how many has come in front of you guys so far as a minority owner, but me being one of them and me being pretty powerful in the space of cannabis, I'm hoping to change the perception of opening the door for more, minority-owned dispensaries as well. But what I hope to do is hire diverse people. As you see right here, the people next to me is diverse, including myself, including my attorney, my partner, and the retired detective. So I really try to bring a diverse work group around me. And what I plan to do is, again, I'm trying to hopefully create opportunities for everybody in Jersey City, and hopefully people that's been affected. I've been affected myself plenty of times. Anyone that's pretty much been smoking cannabis for over 10 years has probably been affected, including myself, many times. So I know the feeling, and I hope that I can actually help people that's been in a similar situation as me.
Can you clarify? You say you've been affected.
I've been affected. I've been arrested about 5-6 times for cannabis.
What agencies have you contacted to be able to, hire these people?
Well, my attorney, he's actually working directly with some companies, so I'm not really focusing on that in terms of finding the right ones, since I have somebody that's really connected in that field. I'm letting him handle, and he'll talk about that, handle those direct companies.
Okay.
But
So your attorney is going to talk about your hiring.
No, in terms of what that organization is that we're going to use for that. But we've talked about, hiring people that's been affected and people that's been jailed. So I do plan to do that. And If you ask me another question more clearer, then I can give you another answer.
So-
But I want to make sure you're happy with the answer.
I
But-
think where was this right? Where you were going was about the expungement and specifically just having your business, what that means to you, and how and what
Well,
plans do you have? If
It means a
any?
lot to me.
Okay.
Because I have my record that still needs to be expunged.
Okay.
Even though I actually haven't been convicted of cannabis, even being arrested, it still stays on your record. So I've been arrested almost 10 times for cannabis throughout my lifetime. Every single time I've been scared when I arrested. This is not a fun thing. It's not a safe thing. It's still something that affects me to this day, even though it's legal. So I plan to try to, and I have a connection which other cannabis store owners you might see come in front of you might not have with the urban community. I have a connection, and I have friends of all ages, all races, and all types. So somebody that might come in front of you might not know how to go down into those neighborhoods and connect with people. I do, and people resonate with me, and I have a following of people. And when people come in contact with me and I have a conversation, is usually really positive. So when that comes, I'm hoping to help expunge as many people that come to us, whether they work for us or they're in the neighborhood and they come and say, Mike, we need help with expunging our records. I will do everything in my power, and along with myself as well. So it's compared to some people that come in front of you, it might not mean as much because they've never been affected. But again, I want to explain that I have stuff on my record of cannabis I'd love to expunge as well.
So someone else from your team is going to go more specific into
He's going to talk
this.
more about
Okay,
current
good.
plans.
So then I wanted to ask about the floor plan, right? I
Yep.
see you have the 2 different floors there. What's the total square footage?
It's 500 square feet up top, and then we have a basement for additional, I think it's about 500 square feet in the basement.
That's usable space.
Yeah, that's usable space in the basement. And as we said, Brian, he currently owns the building now, so we're able to make any adjustments that we need pretty
So the
freely.
idea is retail both floors? Is
No,
that
the
what we're
retail's going to
thinking,
be
or-
upstairs. It's a small space.
Okay.
And I would love to invite all you guys to our location any day
Mm-hmm.
to come check it out, so you can kind of see how we operate. But it's a small space, but it's a cozy place. Anytime someone walks in there, they're like, "Ooh, I love this place. I love what you did. Did you design this?" Because it feels at home and it feels nice. And I wish one of you guys have seen it before, because that's what everyone has said that walked through that door. But we plan to operate upstairs, and downstairs is more going to be storage and office space and additional space if needed. But retail will all be upstairs, kind of pretty similar to how we're going through traffic now. But we'll have a little bit more systems, so there's no lines and people waiting. So we'll have other systems in place, but we plan to pretty much be pretty similar to how we are right now.
So I guess my question is, on the first floor, you're going to continue operating your CBD business, and you're going to have a second floor that's cannabis?
Oh no! So you
Okay,
can't
just
do the
trying to understand.
CBD
Yeah.
hemp in there.
I was just
so-
trying to
yeah.
understand. So it's not the current space you're in.
No, so the current space we're going to keep and turn to Green Flamingo. Jupiter Nights is actually going to have to move locations because you can't operate CBD out the same location currently under the New Jersey law. Hopefully in the future we will, but so we'll move Jupiter Nights to another location, and this will be transferred into Green Flamingo.
A big truck's going to come and take
yeah,
all that
just-
stuff out, and they're
just
going
I'm
to
trying
take
to
the awning
understand
and
it,
change
yeah.
the name and do some renovations.
I have a couple quick questions if the board members don't. Michael, do you know the number of employees you're going to have?
That's for him.
Okay.
But we do, but he'll go into more Pacific, and but yeah, if we're talking about daily employees, it's gonna be about 15 between full and part-time employees, but we're also gonna have security and additional employees as well, which Brian will get into.
I'm pretty sure you can answer these questions, and I apologize, but I'm
No problem.
supposed to do this. What is your race, nationality, or ethnic group?
So I'm mixed between white and black. My father was black, and that's how I have the minority report.
And just to clarify the record, you had indicated that you've been arrested 10 times
Yeah.
for cannabis, yet the application for social equity,
But because you couldn't
Without the convictions. And we had an argument about that because he's like, I've been arrested a lot of times.
I should
and
be
it
able
affected
to.
me." But it has to be convictions.
They wouldn't allow me, which I think that should change, because even though I wasn't convicted, it still messed with my life, it still messed with my time, and that's what he was saying I was arguing is I still been arrested 10 times. I've still had to go in front of a judge 10 times. I've still been in the back of a police car 10 times. I've still had that fear from cannabis. So that's why is when you bring up expungement.
You can get that expunged, though.
Yeah, but
So it's rather to have the expunged.
but that's what's going to be good is doing it for me is going to open the way that I know how to do it and be able to spread it to the community, because I have to do the steps, and that's what I hope to do. But unfortunately, I couldn't use that.
And just for the edification of the committee, the social equity category, while it's great, it also comes with a lot of limitations because it has to be 51% owned by someone with a social equity background. So let's say it's him. That pretty much ties us with him having to have 51%. But if it's minority owned, then he can get investors as long as they're minorities, and he can get white investors and black investors. It's easier to keep the 51% as a minority owned than if it was a social equity. So anyone I'm sitting here with is probably not going to be a social equity because I discourage that. It kind of bites you on the back end, right? Because investors want their percentages as well, and they don't want to hear you can't have but so much because 51% has to be with this person. So
And there's serious monetary limitations as far
Absolutely.
as income.
right. So that's an aside, but just that going forward.
Anything else from the board?
I like to swear in.
Okay, hearing none, seeing none. Questions for this witness? Hearing none, seeing none. Next witness, please.
Like to swear in Brian Phillipson.
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm the testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
You can put your hand down. Please state your name, spell your last name, and give us your address.
Brian Phillipson. Last name is Philipson. Address is 117 Willow Avenue, number 1, Hoboken, New Jersey.
Your witness?
Yes, sir. You heard me brag earlier about you saying that you did 20 years building up Jersey City. What did I mean by that? What have you been doing?
So I just want to start mentioning that I've lived in Jersey City or Hoboken the past 23 years. I've raised my family, gone to the school system. I work in Hudson County, Jersey City primarily, and as a real estate developer, and also we do property management aligned. And so I basically live, work, and play all mostly in Jersey City, but in Hudson County. So I own the building where we're planning to do this, and to put the store, and that's how I came across Michael. So 2 years ago, we met, and I've watched him. You kind of heard a little bit about how he operates the store, and I've watched him. People come in and out of the store, and I haven't met too many people going into any store anywhere with as much passion as Michael carries, and as for the product that he sells, for the connection that he has with the customers. So that's kind of what drew me. We have a relationship as a landlord-tenant, but we've also become friends, and now we've become business partners through this venture. I also just want to mention the one question. The store will operate differently. I just want to just address that. It's obviously going to be very important how the flow of, so we're not going to have the time that Michael has to discuss cannabis, but we're planning on doing other methods of educating people through about cannabis, about our products, through technology and other ways. So I just wanted to address that. It will be different, the flow, to have the flow. But right now, so that's what attracted me to align with Michael for this business venture, watching his passion, seeing the positive effects from the community, the customers. It's quite remarkable, and which is why, as he mentioned, it's a small store, but there's a little bit of magic that happens there within that small space.
Now, Michael mentioned earlier his community involvement with Jupiter Knights. I'm sure the board wants to hear about your plans for community involvement for Green Flamingo if you get this license.
Great. Yeah, I'm just quickly, I'll just mention myself. I've been involved in a lot of charitable things throughout the years, and community involvement. One of the buildings that we did along Palisade Avenue, we personally restored the cobblestone street alongside the road as a give back to the community, and for allowing us the opportunity to build that building there. I've also a consistent donor to the Liberty Humane Society. I'm also a very regular donor to the Riverview Jazz Festival, and so just relating. So Michael and I are both have that that mindset of being charitable and giving back to the community. We for this venture, we're looking to, among other things, but I'm going to just break it down for time's sake into 3 different categories. One, we're looking to create a community center, basically to have a local something. We're planning to do it along Central Avenue, something local, for the community to have a place to go for resources, for access to computers, access to scanners and printers. We're also planning on having a lecture series, and potentially educating on cannabis through that community center. We're also planning to have local artists display their work within the center, to tie in the art community within that. The second thing is we've formed an alignment with the Pentecostal Church on Monticello. We've agreed to donate to them on a regular basis, and we have a memorandum of understanding with them, which we've signed recently. We're planning on working with them on initiatives for the community. We're going to be meeting. We're going to be part of their board, and we're going to be meeting regularly with them for community initiatives through the church. And lastly, we plan on, just to keep the local area clean, we're planning on doing a doggy waste, donating several starting out throughout the Heights, and every year we're planning on expanding that. Something to keep the area clean, and we plan on spreading those out throughout the area.
Helps to have a real estate developer on the team. What are your plans to hire locally?
Yeah, sure. So,
A community center, okay.
So again, I'm just going to mention currently through my company, between direct employees, we have about a dozen employees, 10 of which live in Jersey City. Through my extended subcontractor network, there's dozens more, many of which primarily live in Jersey City or Hudson County. For Green Flamingo, we plan on continuing that effort, and that's why I mentioned what we've done. It's a good example for what we've done in the past. We plan on hiring. We plan on aligning with Jersey City Workforce Housing and ensuring that we're taking precedence for Jersey City residents as our employees. As Michael said, we plan on having about 15 between bud tenders, and there'll be a bookkeeper, there'll be fulfillment people, and we plan on having about 15 employees, and then that's not including some of the subcontracted security people as well.
What is the pay range you expect there?
Pay range will be between $35,000 to $65,000. That's not including a director. That'll probably be around the $90,000 range.
I don't have any more questions.
You want to go first? You have a question? I was just saying, so that 90,000, to take Michael's space, or is it Michael's going to be in the day-to-day and then a director of the building, or the?
Michael's going to start out being the director.
Okay.
And at some point, as the business grows,
Yeah.
and as we may look for other ventures, we plan on Michael still being it's very hard to ever have Michael not be completely involved in his business. So that will never happen. But as he takes on another role, we plan on having in the future a director at some point.
I'd like to just understand more about your relationship and how that came about. Yeah.
From both of us or him?
Well, I'd like to hear more from you.
Sure. Yeah, again, just I'm also very hands-on with everything I do in my business. So I've got to know Michael as my tenant in the building. So, and again, I would anytime I'd go into the building, I would sit back and just watch people come in and have him just discuss to talk about hemp products, cannabis products. Michael is extremely knowledgeable in the industry, and I was just very attracted to the connection, the passion that he had, and the positive energy that the customers had.
So was it your idea or Michael's idea?
No, it was
to
Michael's.
open
He's
the
the
store?
idea. He's the idea guy.
Oh, okay.
So
And then Michael approached you to become his partner.
yes, we had started having a conversation about it back when New Jersey opened up. He had started the balls moving, the wheels putting the wheels in motion, and we had a few conversations about it, and in my head there was no question that one was being involved in this industry, but there was no question that Michael would be the person that I would want to partner with.
So I guess to take that like the next set, what brought you to Jersey City? Because you live in Manhattan, right? And
Yeah. So actually, when I was looking to bring cannabis to Jersey, it was a couple options for me, but I was looking for somewhere in Hudson County, and I've heard so much about Jersey City, and I've been here, but it actually, for me to want to stay here was because I fell in love with Jersey City, and I fell in love with Central Avenue. I fell in love with my neighborhood, and I felt, the people that I see walking by every day are the same people. Like, I know people's kids, and I know, over these 2 years, I've seen kids go from being carried to running into my store, so I'm able to see even the growth in the community. And it just, I fell in love with Jersey City once I came. I had a little love for it, but what has came to it now is everywhere I go, even when I'm in Manhattan, New York, I'm like, Jersey City, they look at me crazy. I'm like, let's go out in Jersey City. Like, I'm just so attached to Jersey City and Central Avenue, and I have nothing but positive things to say about it. And I would tell anybody, like, move out of Manhattan and go to Jersey City because it's cheaper, you get more space. It's
right?
So the next hobby.
You haven't moved yet.
I'm actually here in Jersey
Are you
City
moving?
I'm
When are you
here in
gonna get your
Jersey City
apartment?
more than Manhattan, though. So I'm here because I'm usually in Jersey City about 15 hours a day. So I'm here more than even in Manhattan. So this is like my home, and I consider it my home, and
He has asked for an apartment upstairs numerous times. I wouldn't do that to his wife. So
Brian, you said that you're a part of what for employment? The workforce? You keep saying Jersey City residents, but what Jersey City residents? Have you applied? Have you connected with any of the reentry programs?
well, right now, currently my business hires. Right now we hire in the real estate world. We hire we hire 10 employees. So most of my employees are Jersey City residents.
I know, but
But
I'm just
we will-
asking you, have you connected with any of the reentry programs for former incarcerated inmates?
No, but
offenders.
we do plan on going that route once we're up and running, and we get our state license. We plan on going that route.
Well, they have
for
first priority,
applications.
so.
Also, have you met with Councilman Saleh about your
yes,
business?
we have a support letter as well from him. We obviously being so involved in the Heights, he's came by. He's been a great councilman, and not only have I worked with him, like I've said, I've worked with Dana Rivera. I've worked, there's people that are hands-on, and these guys are hands-on in the community, and they've crossed paths with me numerous times. So he's seen what I've done for Central Avenue, how I've done from the neighborhood, how I've been welcomed into the neighborhood, and when he's seen that, he knew that I've already been operating again for almost 2 years. So I've been pretty welcomed into the Central Avenue, and I hope to make it even better place.
Anything else? Mr. Phillipson, race, nationality, or ethnic group, please.
White.
Thank you. If there's no other questions from the board members, I'll open it up.
Just have a comment. It's not a question, but with the dog waste stations,
I was trying to, like, I'm just like,
yeah,
trying to avoid it.
So I'll say it, Stacy. I would recommend you. It's not a bad idea. It's a good idea, but with every solution comes a new problem. So I would just talk to the health department and DPW to make sure that they're manned, because if they're not, Councilman Slay's office is going to get a million phone calls.
We plan to actually maintain.
Oh, you're going to man it yourself?
Yeah, we're going to maintain it.
Okay, I
yeah.
still would talk to the health department
Yeah,
and
of course,
DPW
yeah.
just to make sure and work with the city on where you're placing them, but I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I just also work for the city and know what will happen.
We've also spoke to Riverview community already about it, so we've started.
Oh, you
to
met with
have-
Riverview Neighborhood Association?
just by phone. We haven't. I've been to meetings before up there, so I know several of
So have
the
I,
people.
many of them.
And also with the community center, like he said, I've noticed the need for it in the neighborhood. Like I said, since I'm so hands-on and in the neighborhood, I've had numerous people from the neighborhood, even if they're not customers, I see them every day, come in, ask to use my laptop, ask to print something, ask for some charging times, came in because it's hot, they wanted somewhere to sit. Or, so I've had plenty, and I've seen the need actually on Central Avenue, so there was so many times where even you wouldn't believe, like, people's in the middle of their real estate license and like, hey, Mike, do you mind if I use your laptop today? Because I have this come up, my charger broke, and maybe they can't get a new charger quick enough. So I seen the need for that. And so if I can offer that as well, it's something that I really hope to just give a little bit more resources to Central Avenue and the Heights in general.
Where will the community center be? Is that the first floor of your?
No, it's not going to be right there, but we're planning on doing, because Brian owns a couple buildings actually on Central Avenue, including the one. He owns a few buildings just on Central and then other places in Jersey City as well. But we plan to, again, this is all subjective to a lot of things, but right on Central Avenue is where we plan to do it. We'll get a space there.
For the community center.
Yeah, for the community center, and we plan to have it open daily, and where people can come in and use these resources, whether it's just printing, whether it's just maybe doing some surfing on the internet for certain things. It's just gonna be another outlet for people to enjoy, because there really isn't. There's one pay to play on Central Avenue where people have to pay for the internet, but what if those people can't pay? I like to just give that. People don't, we take for granted our internet on our phone and our internet at home, but being on Central Avenue, I've seen and felt the neighborhood could really use it.
Sounds like a great idea.
Thank you.
Anything else from the board members?
I don't think we asked who's the 24-hour contact.
I am.
It's you for now? Okay.
Yep.
I was waiting for the security debrief.
But
for
I
some
think
other
we have
questions.
someone who's going to talk about that, so.
Yeah, I'd like to swear in my detective.
Sure. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm the testimony about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your name, spell your last name, give us your address.
First name Victor, last name Cherry, Cherry. My address is 66 Sycamore Road in Jersey City.
Welcome, Mr. Cherry, your witness.
Yes, sir. I wanted to know how are you going to handle loitering issues?
Okay, so as far as loitering, first there's going to be signage stating that there's no loitering or smoking in the area, especially in front of in the vicinity of the store. Secondly, we're going to have the area roped off, and there's going to be an armed guard at the entrance, and a part of his job is to make sure that there's no one loitering in the area. And lastly, we're going to have like an iPad system where there's a notification system, and you input your number, and you're able to leave the area for 15, 20 minutes or whatever. Once you're notified, you come back, and you can go and shop for your product and leave.
Good idea.
Like a buzzer from like when you
Like if
try
you
to
go
get something to eat and
right,
then
if
like
you go to a
20
restaurant or
minutes
something like
and-
that, yes.
Okay.
So the notification system.
Another question I had is the handling of cash. I know you can't use a credit
Okay,
card.
so with that, we're going to have irregular pickups with the bank. We'll schedule that with them. And also, on-duty personnel, the armed guards will provide additional security during the transaction involving cash.
Okay. And the last question is, how are we going to protect the young kids that?
Okay, again, there's going to be signage stating that anyone under 21 not allowed or permitted into the premises. The armed guard at the entrance, he's going to check for ID. We're going to have software that can check for the validity of any ID, and you have to have state-approved ID in order to enter the premises. So that's going to be a way that we can mitigate that problem.
I don't have any more questions.
Anything from the board members?
Yeah, I think you answered it pretty much. I just, because the space is so small, I was just wondering how to manage sort of the people outside, and what are the hours going to be?
Well, we currently have it open for 8 to 8. We're thinking that will. I guess we're gonna kind of have to see how the traffic of customers going, but we'll keep it open that long at first. Kind of. That's how I started Jupiter Nights. I kind of did a whole day and kind of just shaved my hours and seen how the flow of customers, and that's what we plan to do in this. But we'll start with 8 to 8,
8 a.m. Oh,
8 a.m.
wow, okay,
It's a little early.
all right.
I think it's early, but I think
Some people go to
closing
work.
early is also, like, closing at 8 p.m. is.
Well, I wanna
is,
try to
like,
help people
very
that go to work.
community oriented.
Sometimes we get customers like, I've got customers, hey, we were there early because maybe they got work or got something
Yeah,
to do,
they
and they
come
don't have
before
time
work.
after work. So even though you might be able to cater to a little clientele, there is people that still that must be the convenient time for them. But right now I'm open up 7 days a week, and the flow is great. We never have any problems, and I'm thankful,
So right now, about how many people come in a given day, just to
On a
get
given
sense?
day, it could be about 50 customers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I've built up, and sometimes more, but I'm also online. I ship all over the country. Before I opened up in Jersey City, I was already in business online, doing online orders, and just alone we're one of the biggest for CBD hemp companies for online. So there's kind of two parts to the business, but my baby is Jersey City, Central Avenue.
So that sort of like supply chain, because it's very different for cannabis,
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot.
Delta 8 and such, versus needing to buy local and.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a change in that in terms of the supply chain and how it actually get distributed and the regulations around it. So the whole inside's gonna be changed in terms of regulations are gonna be in place. So it's a lot more regulated. This isn't the CBD hemp. This is the cannabis, and it's a lot more regulated. So there's gonna be a lot more focus on those things. But in terms of the whole business field, that's why I said it's gonna be just like this. But when we're talking about the infrastructure, it has to be different because there's gonna be a lot more rules in place.
Yeah. And parameters around your supply chain.
Yeah, so thankfully being open for the last 2 years, you don't know how many people, probably people even in this meetings came in, since I was the first cannabis store that just focused on cannabis in Jersey City. Some have opened up after me, but I was the first one. And being the first one, people have came from all over the country, came in, checked it out, and other store owners, before they even opened up in Jersey City, they come into my doors because they've heard about me. They don't tell me, but they come in, they check it out because I'm the standard of having a good running business, cannabis friendly in Jersey City. People feel they don't have no fright. They come in, all races, all ages. I have a 90-year-old customer. He comes in, I have ages of. It's people have came in. I have 3 80-year-old ladies. They're like, this seems like a movie because it's just the type of customers that come in is very diverse. But we have the greatest customers, and that's Central Avenue. That's where a majority of my customers come, is that surrounding area. About 90%, I would say, is Jersey City, with 10% coming maybe from New York or other parts of New Jersey.
And so being in business currently, have you had any issues?
No, actually, thankfully, just a normal, you get on Central Avenue, you do have a lot of mental people on any city street, so you get people like that. But other than that, I haven't. It's been, and we currently don't even offer security, which we're going to be offering now. So it's like a family business at this moment, and then it's going to turn into something a little bit more regulated and defined. But right now, yeah, haven't had no problems.
So in your CBD business, you're doing white label now?
Yes. And other companies buy from me. So, yeah, we sell to a lot of companies, even stores, whether they carry my product or even they, like you said, they white label our product to someone else.
So you're looking to readapt that in the cannabis?
Yeah, so we'll
at
be
some
doing
point.
something. I'm into branding, so I plan to shift the branding into, at first we can't grow, so we're gonna have to have other supply changes, but as we're more established in the space and we can come back in front of you guys for the grow, we plan to do that as well. But we'll just, go step by step. And I've had a lot of relationship with the local growers, people that's applicants or even people that's been awarded license. I've already been having a network of those people, whether it's phone numbers, emails, and people that I'm already starting a relationship just because you need to plan ahead. So I'm already working on packaging. I have all that ready. Like he stated, if we could get open on Saturday, I'd open up on Saturday.
Anything else? All right, hearing none, seeing none. I'm going to open it up for public comment. You're limited to 3 minutes. Hearing none, seeing none, I'd ask that.
Oh, no, Lorenzo Richardson wants to talk.
It's going to have an ongoing, you're already sworn in from the last meetings, Mr. Lorenzo, if that's okay with you. So go ahead, why don't you tell the board what you'd like to, please state your name. We do have a stenographer.
Lorenzo Richardson, speaking on my own behalf as a resident and taxpayer here in Jersey City, 66 Danforth Avenue. So I'm in opposition to this dispensary due to the fact that there are daycares within the vicinity and also residents that live above and around in the storefront, above the storefronts in this vicinity. I do have concerns about the 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Operation. Of course, children going to school. It's a high traffic area. And it's in vicinity of children going to school. Also, I have a concern. I understand that the individual said, they operate a business here, but they live in New York. My understanding is that you're supposed to live in New Jersey in order to apply for these licenses. And for those reasons, I am against this dispensary.
Thank you, Mr. Lorenzo. Anyone else? All right, hearing none, seeing none, we're going to close the public portion. Back to you, sir.
Thank you. I think we're finished.
Just to be clear, Lorenzo, only one person has to live in New Jersey, and his partner does live in the state, so.
And I can also give, actually most of my tenants that live in that building are customers of mine, and they love me, and they could come here anytime to testify that. And they've lived in there, and he's the landlord. If there was any problems with the people in that building, Brian would.
You don't have to explain. We live in a city, so it's, there's people everywhere,
Yeah,
literally.
All right, if there isn't a summation, back to the board for discussion, for a vote, either for or against.
Jeff isn't here, so one of you, please.
I just, for discussion, I think what I'm just going to say is I've heard no issues about this business ever. I mean, I feel like I hear a lot of things about a lot of businesses across the city. And I do think 2 years, well established is a business. And if you've been currently operating without security, with all of those new security measures and regulatory issues coming into play, obviously those will make changes and actually be more supportive for the community. And when kids go to school at 8 o'clock in the morning, which I thought they would be in school by 8 o'clock in the morning. But those are just, I like that a lot of people that come here want to close at 10 p.m., want to close at midnight. And I think 8 p.m. is giving a lot of respect to the neighborhood. And I think that's just a wise business decision. I think that's like a fair way to continue to be welcomed into a community, not being open really late and, having like a crowd in front. And so I think it's like a really respectful way to go about it.
I think a nicely done application. I would love to hear more specifics around what you're going to do, the transformation just inside of the expungement and trying to get as many of these people, as you've pointed out earlier, employed. I love what you're talking about, the community center. And I really feel your heart, your passion as someone. I've owned a smaller retail space like that, and I completely connect with what you're saying and how you're being when you're saying it. So, yeah, and Victor, you're retired.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
He looks young.
Yeah. So, but, with all that said, I think I don't have any other questions about what you all are doing. You?
So we do need either.
So we do need, I know that.
Please.
So with that said, I'm going to proceed and vote, yay.
So are you going to make a motion?
I'd like to make the motion. I'm going to make the motion, I'm sorry.
To approve.
To approve
Okay.
this application.
Is there a second?
I'm looking to see if Brenda. I will happily second this application.
All right, roll call.
Chairperson Bunny,
Yes.
Commissioner Sally Perkins,
Yes, with the stipulation that we have some hirings of ex-offenders.
Commissioner Sloan,
Absolutely. We will come before us again. And so we really do want to be more specific and more clear about this, but I say yay.
Commissioner Flanagan.
Yes, and I would say hopefully when you're in front of us next time, you have gone through your expungement process so that you are more prepared to share with others the experience as someone who's been through this.
I will volunteer to take care of that for him.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Really, it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Motion carries. Congratulations.
Yes,
Thank you.
congratulations and best of luck.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
Next application is CCB 22-18 Cannabis LLC. Is there someone here on Cannabis LLC?
LLC.
Good evening, sir. If you'd be so kind as to enter your appearance into the record.
Certainly. Dennis O'Leary appearing on behalf of the applicant Cannabis.
Slow that down. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Dennis O'Leary appearing on behalf of the applicant Cannabis LLC.
Welcome, Mr. O'Leary. You want to spend a minute or two, tell us what the application is about and who's going to be testifying?
Yes, thank you. This is it's a micro application. It's a micro application. The applicant is a resident of Jersey City, a lifelong resident of Jersey City. Is already a small business owner, owns a real estate company, real estate sales. Minority, has employees who are also minority women, is very involved in the community, and is going to be moving into a facility that is owned by her father. There was a barber shop there, and the barber had said he was going to retire, so that makes it financially a lot easier to have to do that. We had the benefit of being at the last meeting, and we didn't get reached, but we heard a lot of the board's concerns. So the principal, in fact, the sole owner is Diana Vasquez, and she took the opportunity to prepare a statement based upon some of the board's concerns mentioned at the last meeting, and with the board's permission, I'd like to call her as a witness and read the statement, and then we can address any questions that the board might have, if that's okay.
Ms. Vasquez, would you please raise your right hand? This swear affirmative testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Please state your name, spell your last name, and give us your address.
I'm Diana Vasquez.
Just talk into the microphone, sorry.
You have to turn it on.
The green light will be on when it's on.
Okay. I'm Diana Vasquez. Last name is Vasquez. I reside at 25 Reed Street in Jersey City, New Jersey.
Go ahead, you can read your statement.
Thank you. You've prepared a statement. Would you like to read it, please?
So my name is Diana Vasquez, and I am a lifelong resident of Jersey City. My parents migrated to Jersey City almost 50 years ago. I was raised here. I raised my daughter here as well. I am a Marine veteran, and I own a real estate team for the past 10 years here. I grew up in the Jersey City Heights, and I intended to stay there. But since I was not able to buy quick enough, I got priced out. So I decided to buy in McKinley Square. And I ended up moving to one of the worst streets in McKinley Square on Reed Street, which actually had a really bad reputation, and people would ask me why I would move there. I had never experienced living around homeless people with substance abuse problems. My new address was a playground for the hood to sell drugs, and it was happening right in front of my house. To be honest with you, it was shocking and scary. But if it wasn't for this experience, I would not be aware of what happens on the other side of Jersey City that many do not get to see. With the help of the police, I was able to clean up the block. And all the new development is cleaning up the neighborhood, and it's looking different. But there are still a lot of young men standing on corners all over Jersey City. Because of my real estate career, I have seen firsthand how the growth of the city is amazing, but it also leaves many behind. And because of this, I founded the Dvg Foundation in the beginning of 2020. The purpose of the foundation was to provide financial education to the youth so that they can be prepared to enter the world as an adult, to teach them the things that no one teaches them about money, credit, home ownership, and business, so that we can help break generational circles that keep young people in the same place. Instead, we would help them elevate to new levels. When I saw the opportunity to be able to participate in the cannabis industry, I know this would be the way to help the foundation, and I decided to apply for the license. After much thought, I realized that there are organizations that already exist in my community that help the youth, so we have decided to work together instead. So I will be working with Louis Spears and his foundation's Kismet of Kings. I have also had the firsthand experience on how hard it is for ex-convicts to enter the word again. One of my best tenants is an ex-convict, and no one would give him a chance to have housing because of his background. He had a criminal background. So instead of judging him, I decided to speak to him and see what had happened in his past, and I am so happy I did. William is a wonderful person, and it opened my eyes to see as one act of kindness can change someone's life. William will also be working at the dispensary, and this will get him one step closer to getting his life back to being productive and fulfilling. I have also partnered with the New Jersey Reentry Corporation, led by Chairman James McGreevy, and this will ensure we have not only donating to the foundation, but also to help the formerly incarcerated have employment. My real estate team is comprised of all minority Latina women, and I intend to keep hiring Jersey City minority residents of all sex, shapes, and colors for the dispensary. My intention is to give back to the city that has given me so much. In terms of security, we will be using ISG. ISG has been in business for over 35 years and specifically working with the cannabis industry for over 10 years. They also help in government, commercial, healthcare, and jewelry facilities. They are extremely capable and will have everything from facial recognition to 24-hour security to cameras. I mean, you name it. That's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. If I could jump in very quickly. Any idea the number of employees, Ms. Vasquez, that you're going to have?
10,
10 employees?
not including management.
I think I mentioned it's micro, so they're restricted to no more than 10.
That's correct. Okay. Race, nationality, ethnic group?
I'm Hispanic, white.
Thank you. Any questions from board members on Ms. Vasquez's testimony?
Have you guys met with the Riverview Neighborhood Association? Because I see you are on Palisade, and they are a very active and concerned neighborhood association. Have you guys met with them?
Not for this specific venture, no.
Okay.
So you have a pretty sizable facility, it seems. So just walk me through how you see that working
As far as the floor plan?
as far as the floor plan.
So we want to make it a place where it's an alternative to perhaps a healthier lifestyle, an alternative to alcohol. So I see it as something green and maybe like I mean, we haven't really gotten that far as like how the floor plan itself. Obviously, it will be
Terms of-
security in the front.
Let me just clarify. So I'm speaking more like the entry, navigating us through the space and how that will work.
Okay, so we'll have security in the front, making sure that everyone is of age and can be in the place. And then we'll have bud tenders throughout the space or open floor plan. We'll have displays. I mean, that's pretty much it.
It's a single floor.
It's a
space?
single floor, yes. It's about 1,000 square feet.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Well, if you can go into just a little bit more detail. So when you say open floor plan and bud tenders all over the place, are you having, because I believe you can't showcase, right? You can't like showcase the actual product and in the, right? You,
In the physical.
Yeah,
in the
so-
physical space. You have to sell it sealed.
Oh, yes.
So, okay. So I'm trying to understand, like, are you going to have just like,
You're gonna have the display
Table set up or you
cases with the, yeah. 'cause-
Well, the product is always packaged. It's
Right.
not just out there exposed, but it is being displayed in a graceful manner. Think of it as I don't know, maybe like a jewelry display.
okay.
With the
I was
product
just trying to
inside of it.
understand in
Yeah.
like different places how you're displaying this and then what.
Yeah, because-
Because I thought everything should be like security.
Oh, yes,
yeah.
yes, indeed. I apologize.
Yeah.
Anything else from board members? Hearing none, seeing none, anything?
So who's the 24-hour contact?
It will be ISG, the security company.
So no one on your direct staff.
Oh, well, I will be as
Okay,
well, but
that-
they would be the ones in charge in case of an emergency.
And you're going to be in the store or do you have?
I will be
because-
managing and I will have an assistant manager as well.
Now you also have plans for an expungement clinic or any kind of contacts for people to get expungements?
So we'll be working directly with the New Jersey Reentry Corporation for those matters, just because they are so more far ahead. Our plan is to employ people with records so that we're giving them a chance.
That's McGreevy.
Yes, sir.
And that's employing people with records.
So let's keep in mind, there is a stenographer and
sorry.
when people speak.
Oh, so sorry. Sorry. So is someone else? Oh, sorry. Is another team member going to speak?
Yes, I thought it might be productive. I was going to call Stephanie Maldonado, who is a current employee of the applicant.
So before we do that, any members of the public have any questions on the testimony that Ms. Vasquez just gave us? Hearing none, seeing none. Next witness, please raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm the testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
You can put your hand down. Please state your name, spell your last name slowly, and give us your address.
My name is Stephanie Maldonado, spelled Maldonado. And my address is 20 Sherman Avenue in Jersey City, New Jersey.
Your witness, counselor.
Thank you. You are an employee of the applicant?
Yes.
What kind of a boss is she?
Oh, I love Diana. So I've been working with and for her for the past 3.5 years. There was actually, when I started working with Diana in the real estate realm, I was living outside of Jersey City for a few years. I have 3 children, and I'm divorced now, but I was in a very abusive relationship, and I had to actually leave where I was just to get away from that situation. And the best part is that, you know, you never really want to bring personal into the business place, but you know, Diana believed in me so much and my ability to work that she helped me to get a place. And it was actually her old place that she lived in, which is her parents live right in the same building, and I was able to move back home to Jersey City. I was born and raised here. Went to number 9 school in downtown and McNair Academic High School. My mother and my father also were born and raised here. So it was just very good to bring my kids back to where I grew up, and we're active in the community as well. But on that note, I've learned in the last 3.5 years that Diana really does believe in what she does, and she brings that across our team. Working in the real estate industry can get funny because a lot of things are transactional, but she really does care for the people that, you know, that are her clients, and that's really important to me, that it's not transactional. So it's taught me a lot, and in things as, you know, giving people a chance. I remember when she says William, who she mentioned earlier, when he applied, and I was like, man, this guy's got a record. But she did say, you know, ask, find out what happened. And it was just very, it was really great to see, because you don't see a lot of people give others opportunities like that, especially when you can just get somebody else. So I appreciate even her having me as an employee. And as time has passed, I started just working 15 hours a week to 40 hours a week. So when she says things like she really cares for the community, I remember when she moved into her home and she started planting trees on Reed Street. It was very interesting because there were no trees on Reed Street, and we see them grow and bloom and things like that, and really get to know the neighborhood. And being from Jersey City myself and seeing the same growth, and just seeing how she would move from the one side of town to the other side has been very interesting. And we do learn from each other because we did grow up in different parts of town, and she's always receptive to that. And the part that I love most about working with her is that she's always receptive to what her employees or people that work with her, what they have to say. And I've been open to lots of opportunities and seeing new things, meeting new people because of her. I've traveled with her and been able to meet and see new places that I would have had the opportunity to see. So I think as a employer, as a manager, as a director, she's exactly who she says she is, and I'm pretty sure anybody else would say the same.
Thank you.
Thank you. Questions from board members for Ms. Maldonado? Hearing none, seeing none. Questions on the testimony that Ms. Maldonado just gave? Hearing none, seeing none. Any additional witnesses?
No additional witnesses. I would like to, I neglected to mention, after we filed this application, the applicant was granted a conditional license
Saw that.
by the commission. Subject to that, I'll submit.
All right. Public comment, any individual member of the public wish to comment either for or against the application, please come up. There is a 3-minute time limit, but please make your way up. Thank you. All right, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear affirm the testimony about, I'm sorry? Yeah, let me swear. Do you swear affirm the testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You can put your hand down. Please state your name, spell your last name slowly, and give us your address.
William Miller, Miller. I live at 25 Reed Street. Diane is my landlord. And, pardon me, I just got off work. And she's given me a great opportunity because I was incarcerated for over 10 years. I got released a couple of years ago, and I just got released from a halfway house to my residence where I rent from Diana, as she's my landlord. And she cares about the neighborhood, she cares about people. She's a wonderful lady.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Anyone else? Welcome, sir. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm the testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please state your name, spell your last name, and give us your address.
Sean Williams, W-I-L-L.
Can you speak into the microphone, please?
Hi, my name is Sean Williams, W-I-L-L-I-A-M-S. Address is 37 Monitor Street, Jersey City, New Jersey. Just wanted to speak on behalf of Ms. Vasquez. I represent Kismet of Kings, which is a nonprofit organization here in Jersey City, and we're geared towards developing young black and brown boys so that they can become productive members of society. And while I am not against, any other dispensary here. I am for Ms. Vasquez especially because we've been able to form a special relationship, and she is as passionate about financial literacy as we are at Kismet of Kings. She is committed to helping us instill that in our young men, along with other things as well. And Frank Gilmore introduced us to her because he knew that our missions were aligned. Mm-hmm. And in dealing with Ms. Vasquez, I have no doubt that in addition to having a great business, she will also be able to give back to the community as well. I just wanted to let that be known.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Lorenzo? And the floor is yours, Mr. Lorenzo.
Thank you and good evening again. I'm speaking against this application. I know that there's a daycare at 423 and 502, and I believe this is across the street from the park, Fisk Park, or Riverdale, or
Riverview Fisk
Riverview
Park.
Fisk Park. Excuse me. Thank you. And for those reasons, as you know, historically, this is no different than any other application. I feel that the appropriate location for this, not that I'm against the business, but it's the location. And so the location is more appropriate on Route 440 or Tunnelly Avenue, or in a heavy commercial area where there are no residents, no schools, no daycare centers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Hearing none, seeing none, we'll close that public.
Yeah, close it.
You can still ask a question.
that's
The
what I
public
was-
can't.
yeah, they should officially close. I guess as I do remember seeing that there were some daycares around there, and I didn't get, maybe I missed it in the application, your hours of operation.
10 to 8.
Okay. And did you meet with your local councilman to discuss your business plans or?
Not with Yusuf, not yet.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm just going to bring up a concern because if you're saying that you're very community focused, I think it's concerning to me that you didn't meet with RNA and the community in which your business is going to exist. Because that's the immediate community, and that's really who you're going to be impacting is your neighbors. And you are across the street from Riverview Park, which is a very active, well, first of all, Riverview is a very active neighborhood association, but it's a park that's used very heavily by Heights residents. And so I think to say I'm very community focused, and I'm not saying that you're not, but I don't understand why you wouldn't meet with the community in which your business is going to be. I think it's nice that you have a relationship with Councilman Gilmore. That's great. But it's concerning to me that you wouldn't speak to your local representation and also not to the neighborhood association because they are super active.
I'll be honest with you, because we went by the map on the zoning, and we were on the zoning, and particularly in the area that was approved. It was an oversight. So totally I missed it. I should have. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I could vote for you knowing that you haven't spoken with Riverview because they will be very upset that you haven't gone to them. And I've said this to all of the applicants. The biggest thing for me is you need to be a good neighbor to your immediate neighbors. And I say that over and over again because I do think it's really important that you are working with the community in which your business is going to be. So that was the concern that I wanted to bring up.
we do plan on meeting with them. We just haven't gotten, we weren't sure if we
I
were
know,
getting
but my
approved.
concern is always if they don't know you're like no one. I don't see anyone in the audience from RNA. I go to the meetings. They may not know you're opening, and so they're not here to speak for or against you. And the point of these meetings is for the public to be aware of them and for the public to come and have an opportunity to speak. So we have tabled other applications to ask them to go meet with the neighborhood associations so that they do have the ability to come before us and say, yes, I support this applicant, or no, I don't. And my concern is you're right across the street from Riverview Fisk Park. So again, that's just my personal concern.
No, I mean, I think in the beginning, that was, in discussion, that would be my concern. I think, when we hear some applicants that are already in business, and it's great that you're a local business owner, and we do value that. We are hearing great things from your employees, but the knowledge base in this field, plus the how to handle it with the community, and I think in just the general, for me, the security response is like someone else is going to handle it when the communities are, might provide you some other needs that they might have. Pushes me to want to table this or not approve an application.
If I could just be heard on that for 1 second, I have, it's a little bit different. I realize there's some distinctions, but this is not someone who is moving into a community. This is somebody through her father, already has a presence in the community. So there is, it's a little different. It's a neighbor. I realize that there's distinctions. I'm not saying that there's not. But I would ask, rather than table it, simply make it a condition of, it's my understanding of the process that we have to come back again anyway. And those contacts will be made, and I can assure you they're going to be made to the satisfaction of all people involved. And just make it a condition, rather than table it, just make it a condition of
But my
whatever action.
concern is then we're approving you without hearing feedback from the neighborhood. And while I agree she's not moving in, a barber shop is drastically different
It's
than
different,
a cannabis
sure. That's why I say
dispensary.
there were distinctions.
I mean, those are not the same thing.
It's completely different.
So back to the dais, it sounds like that the board is inclined to carry this. So we would need a motion to carry to whatever the board desires, the next meeting, the meeting after that, whatever the case may be.
So I'll make the motion to table the application. The date,
I think the
That-
September meeting is fine. My concern is it is across the street from Riverview Park, and they are an extremely active neighborhood association. So I just feel that they need to have input here. I'm not saying that they control this, they don't, but I do think that you should hear their concerns and address their concerns, because if we vote yes tonight, it's a condition, but we've already approved you, and you can advance the application without any neighborhood support. So,
Is there a second?
I second that.
Roll call.
Chairperson Bunny,
yes.
Commissioner Sally Perkins. Yes. Commissioner Sloan,
yes, that we're tabling, yes.
Commissioner Flanagan.
Yes.
All right, the motion carries. We will see you in September, and you'll be able to update us on your progress, as the chair has indicated in detail.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
All right, thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. CCB 29-19, Garden Greens. All right, Counselor, if you'd be so kind as to enter your appearance into the record.
Good evening. Alexandra Erico on behalf of Garden Greens and Brian Markey, who's present.
Did you get that name? I'm sorry, because I did not. Let's do that again a little slowly.
Okay. Alexandra. Sorry. Alexandra Erico on behalf of Garden Greens and
Spell it,
Brian.
please. I'm sorry.
ERRICO.
Thank you.
And on behalf of Brian Markey, who's present here.
All right, Ms. Erico, if you could be so kind as to just briefly indicate what is this about and who's going to be testifying.
Okay, thank you. This is about obtaining a Class 5 cannabis retail license. There's not going to be consumption, just pretty much just a dispensary retail license. The location is 190 New York Avenue, and it's an existing business. It has been operating for probably 20 years as a pawn shop. It's a very secure location, and there's security in place. And right now, it's being rented by Gemalone Corporation. That's the pawn shop name. And we are trying to obtain a license to make it Garden Greens, which is a retail dispensary. And Brian Markey is the owner of that retail dispensary. He's going to speak on behalf of Garden Greens.
All right, so Mr. Markey, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear affirm testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Please put your hand down, state your name, spell your last name, and give us your address.
Brian Markey, Markey, and my address is 27 Canfield Road, and that's in East Hanover, New Jersey.
Thank you, sir. Your witness.
Thank you. Brian, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background?
Yes. Well, my name is Brian Markey. I wanted to thank the Commission for hearing our application today. Before I go into the business aspect of our application, I would like to give the Commission and the public the short background about myself. I am a lifelong resident of New Jersey, and I was born and raised in the city of Jersey City. I grew up on a small block in the Greenville section called Iorio Court. While living in Jersey City for over 35 years, I attended grammar school, high school, and college, which was Jersey City State College at the time, all within the walls of Jersey City. I am without a doubt Jersey City native. My first job was actually delivering newspapers for the Jersey Journal at 11 years old. As I got older, I finished going to art school and was exploring my options in Jersey City. I ended up training to be a professional tattoo artist, and in 2006, I took a gamble at opening my first business in Jersey City called Body Canvas Tattoo. I worked incredibly hard toward making that business succeed, and hard work and dedication eventually afforded me the ability to support and grow my family. Now, most Jersey City residents know me as the guy that runs the pawn shop. That's because in 2010, I went to work with my cousin at Gem Malone Company, located at 190 Newark Avenue in downtown Jersey City. At the time, my cousin was very ill and needed someone to help her run her business. Unfortunately, 1 year later, my cousin passed away. It was sudden, and my family was very devastated. I committed myself to running that pawn shop thereafter and spent over a decade of my life working in downtown Jersey City. Along the way, I officially purchased the business and have been servicing the residents of Jersey City to this very day. I've met thousands of residents in and around Jersey City and have had the opportunity to lend a hand in some incredible organizations, one of them being the Jersey City HDSID, which is the historic Downtown Special Improvement District. I've watched the SID for years as they tirelessly would do everything in their power to embellish downtown Jersey City, from farmers markets to concerts, festivals, holiday events, floral arrangements, street makeovers, you name it, they were always on the go with something to offer the city. They opened their arms to new businesses and restaurants and created a truly unique culinary environment in downtown Jersey City. I'm proud to know that Gem Malone was able to offer our support not only financially, but as a believer in their goals. I reached out to the executive director of the HDSID when I had begun this marijuana dispensary project. I informed them of my intentions and assured them that this new business would not only be great for the avenue based on our location, but also that would operate with the best of intentions for Jersey City and our surrounding neighbors. I asked the SID if this project would be a proactive for the community, and they graciously provided me with a character letter addressing my intentions and their full support. I also currently sit on the board of Whole Spectrum Autism, which is a 501c3 in Jersey City, headed by President Sherry Singh. Our goal at Whole Spectrum Autism is for acceptance and inclusion in the autism community, education for individuals and business professionals on how to provide a more inclusive society for individuals on the spectrum. Over the years, Gem Malone Company has wholeheartedly supported Whole Spectrum Autism and their coalition for acceptance, inclusion, and autism education throughout the city. Whole Spectrum Autism also has drafted a character letter on my behalf of my ongoing support in their initiative. Gem Malone Company has also been ongoing supporters of Hogar Crea in Jersey City, and we are currently exploring a re-entry initiative into the workforce for their participants. We at Gem Malone have sponsored countless baseball teams, fundraisers, and even held golf outings where the proceeds went to Fallen Officers Fund of Jersey City. Our community outreach has been far and wide, and we intend to extend these efforts with the formation of our new dispensary project. Now, last year, I created Garden Greens LLC with the intention of transforming 190 Newark Avenue from a pawn shop to a marijuana dispensary. We are a minority-owned business with a certificate from the state of New Jersey, as well as a certified microbusiness. We have acquired an MRB bank account, which is a marijuana-related business bank account with a local BCB, that's Bayonne Community Bank. Now, I'd like to speak a little bit about our security protocol for Garden Greens. What makes this venture so unique is that the physical and security infrastructure of my pawn shop is almost identical to what a marijuana dispensary should be. We are currently under contract with not one, but two security companies, one being Securitas and the other being SecureNet. These security companies monitor 190 Newark Avenue on a 24-hour-a-day basis. We are equipped with a functioning 16-channel 4K security camera system. This camera system overlooks every inch of the interior of the premise as well as the surrounding outdoors. They also hold video storage for over 60 days. There are 5 3-ton bank vaults in our store. Every vault, doorway, window, and glass pane are equipped with motion detectors. Any unwanted breach of the premise would trigger automatic relay to both local police and fire. The store was built in a way that has multiple employee access features, including retina lock
You
access.
don't have to go specific into your security.
I was going to
plan.
give you the combinations to the safe. Just
Yeah. That's what I was afraid of. You can keep it very brief.
You got a
we,
pen?
We really just want to know that you have security systems
Yes.
in place,
Okay.
that you're checking IDs, that you're going to have guards, whether or not they're going to be armed. I think specifically, probably this board's concern is you are on the pedestrian plaza.
Yes,
So
we
if
are.
you could more speak about security guards, loitering, I don't need to
Yes.
know your
Okay.
codes or where your vaults are.
Okay.
Can you speak a little bit about U.S. security guards and
Yes.
reference to the loitering?
We're going to have, our pawn shop currently has full-time security that monitors inside of the store. It's going to be our intention to have security outside of the store. I know that's going to be very important. There's a lot of, we know it's going to be a highly trafficked area, and we know it would cause a problem with pedestrians and with cars if proper security isn't in place. So that's what we're going to do, is have people kind of police the area and the corner of the street and outside the front door, just to make sure there's no clogging of pedestrians, as well as traffic that causes a problem to the local residents.
And in reference to the security, with the reference to texting customers when their
Yes.
products is ready, can you speak a little bit about that?
Yes. So if I can give you a look into what our dispensary would look like when someone comes in, we actually have an entrance and an exit on the storefront. So as a customer would come in at the entrance, they would get scanned by an employee with a scanner to check their ID. As soon as it's verified that they're 21, they will come in. Orders are going to be placed along one of the side walls of the store, which is through a kiosk. Once they place an order through a kiosk, then they would go up to our POS system, where they'd make payment, receive the product, and they would actually exit the store through a separate entrance, opposite of the entrance, a separate exit. Now, if we have overflow, if it's busy, we are implementing a system to where text messaging will be provided to customers, so as they don't have to wait into the store, and we don't have a buildup of actual customers, and they will
Definitely listen to Jeff.
and they will be informed when their orders are ready, and that is just to mitigate traffic, to make sure we move swiftly. A goal of our operation is to move very fluid and make sure that the customers are in and out and have a good, pleasurable experience.
Yeah. So all of that's very good. Again, I think my concern is more the plaza aspect and just making sure that people aren't smoking on the plaza.
Yes.
Well, you can't ride your bike on the plaza or a scooter,
Yeah.
or you will get a ticket. So maybe that's not for you to deal with, but your guards will be outside directing people away from the location.
Correct. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And can you speak to a little
I think
bit about-
Stacy had a question.
Sure.
My question was more like the transition of business. So I think if anyone has a security question or flow, they can do that.
So your main entrance will still be there on Newark.
Correct. The main
Avenue.
entrance is on,
Okay.
on Newark Avenue. Correct. Yes.
And so what's going to happen to the pawn shop? Like, how do you like transition out of that business to start, like, because I think you're
Fire sale.
right. Yeah, that's what I was
Fire
going to say. Fire sale. But in that, I was also, as you were talking about all the safes, I was thinking, like, in the last several years since you've taken over there, have there been any security issues of note that you want to share? Because I feel like it seems like a pretty safe.
Yeah, there
environment
has never been a security breach at our store while in my control. We've never even had a window break. So, I mean, we have. I do want to say we do have steel gates that come down. I think it's a bit of an eyesore, and I think when I do transition over to the dispensary, I will not be implementing those steel gates just to make it look nicer. Plus, I won't need that security protocol in terms of a ton of gold sitting in safes.
Yeah.
You know, but just to make it clear, the pawn shop is not closing. We are actually moving around the corner to a smaller location. Right now, it's occupied by a hairstylist, and he's retiring. So it is the same landlord of the building. So we've already have that in place. So we're just going to take that space over. So we are not going to be coexisting, if that's what you think.
There's a lot of barbers.
Yeah.
The dispensary is going to be managed by you, is that correct?
Yes, this dispensary will be under myself. I'm the sole owner of this dispensary. We are self-funded. I do not have investors. And this is a project that I took on myself, and I intend to really make this a shining jewel in downtown Jersey City.
And what is your hours of operation?
Right now, I think proposed hours of operation are 11 to 11. But to really talk about hours as this project moves forward, I would like to sit down with the HDSID to really discuss what they think would be more productive for the block. I know we are Restaurant Row, so that, it's really highly foot trafficked around those, that dinner time. So maybe we could stay open somewhere around there, but not too late to interfere with the bar crowds walking around. We don't want to kind of, be open when there's a bunch of loitering already happening.
And can you tell us a little bit about the hiring of local residents plans that you have installed?
Yes. Well, if I could rewind about 10 years when I opened up my first tattoo parlor, I used to, on downtime, airbrush T-shirts, and I would do it in my storefront window. I was on West Side Avenue in Lexington. And I would airbrush T-shirts every day, and kids would come around and watch me paint. And every day they'd come around and watch I'd paint cartoon characters on shirts and things like that. So it was really, it was very exciting for the kids. And then one day there was a guy walked up, and he used to sit there and watch me paint. And, day by day would come by and watch me paint and just wouldn't say anything. One day I knocked on the window and told him to come in. And he came in, and we just started discussing art and painting. He said, I want to learn how to paint like this. And he started, days would pass, and he'd come show me his art, and I'd critique it. And eventually it organically led into this kind of mentorship where, I taught him the tricks and equipment and how to become a really good painter. I mean, he was incredibly talented to begin with. And it just, through my instruction and mentorship, I guess you would say, he became a really good artist. And I convinced him, I said, listen, Mike, you are ready to paint for clients. You could do this. And he just totally didn't want to do it. He was totally scared. And I gave him the confidence to do it. And eventually, he started painting with me. And from that point on to this very day, and he's sitting right behind me, this kid right here is the best tattoo artist and airbrush artist in Jersey City or the state. And honestly, I give this guy props. And he's been with me since up until this day. And honestly, everything I do up until this moment is impossible with this man. And not only that, but he is an unbelievable father and a husband. So I just want to give him props.
And Can you speak a little bit about the education, the marijuana sales education, that the class that you have taken, and with reference to that?
Exactly. When I first thought about doing this project, I said, well, I run a pawn shop, so how do I go about not only selling marijuana, but being educated and informed about it? So I went onto the New Jersey CRC site, and if you look under the diversity and inclusion, it brings you to the educational platforms that they offered. So I went to the Bergen County Community College, and they offered like an 8-week course, and actually on running a cannabis business, the cannabis plant and its history, and it really made me well informed of what I was getting into, what I needed to get involved in this type of business. A lot of the same protocols were very similar to the kind of business that I run now, but I did learn about product and what you need to do as a cannabis business owner to make sure you have a successful operation.
You graduated, you received a certificate.
Yeah, I
is that
received a
correct?
certificate for that course.
And can you tell the board a little bit about the prevention education for the youth that you're
Yes.
going to be implementing?
So a couple of months ago, I would like, I wanted to really discuss with people how previous marijuana laws negatively affected a lot of people. I mean, thousands of people in New Jersey. And it's a big problem. And I came to almost every meeting of all these clients, of all the applicants. And I did it, to learn, but also like for support. There's a lot of good people who are applying for these licenses. And listening to everything in the beginning, what I did was our company, Garden Greens, created a QR code called Expungement. And Mike, if you could hold that up.
Yeah, I see it. Well, there's
It's
one right
there.
here.
Oh, great. I do have a paper if I could hand this to you.
You could do it from here. I just did.
Okay, cool.
Oh, you
Okay.
were able to do it
So,
from
yeah. Yeah, you can do it from your phone. So when you scan this, it brings the user directly to lsnjlaw.org. For those of you who don't know, this is a nonprofit organization that offers free expungement services to low-income individuals with a New Jersey marijuana conviction. The users can easily navigate the free legal services in a private and personal setting. No one's personal information is retained, and the process is completely anonymous. And these stickers have been on my storefront for a few months now, just so people. I don't know exactly how many people have scanned.
Oh, you don't have that information?
No, because there's really no software to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It would be nice to follow up with emails, with people.
Is there a way that the NJ New Jersey, the actual legal team could see what reference, like how they got to them?
Yes.
So they can probably share.
They could tell you. We don't want any personal information.
Exactly.
And I respect very much that you're doing it this way, because a lot of people do want it to remain anonymous and private.
Exactly.
But we want to make sure that you know how many people you have done expungements for, so that if you are approved, when you come back in front of this board, you can tell us, I've helped 20 or 50 or however many people. We want to have an idea.
Correct.
You'll be able to speak when the public comments. Yes.
Yes. So, yes, we'll be able to find out how they were trafficked into the actual into the website. Yes.
Do you have any closing comments, Brian?
I do want to talk about our hiring practices and talking about who we've contacted in terms of finding these employees. We have been in contact with the Office of Diversity and Inclusion of Jersey City. Here we spoke to two really outstanding individuals, Floyd Jeter and Tyquel Hawley. We discussed the pitfalls of Jersey City youth and the previous marijuana laws that have disproportionately plagued the Black and Latino community for generations. We talked about our plans to operate a marijuana dispensary and that we needed proper guidance as to how we can reach the individuals that are looking to join our team. We will be communicating with the Office of Diversity and Inclusion as the process evolves, and they have offered their guidance and are looking forward to helping with our initiative. We also reached out to the JCETC. Here we spoke with Ms. Nyasha Williams. We discussed the recruiting of candidates for employment, and that we will be providing paid training. Now, we are a micro business, so we're limited to 10 employees. We're looking to, have baseline employees at $30 an hour. Our goal is to provide cannabis education to anyone and everyone that lives in Jersey City. We've also spoke to numerous industry professionals that have agreed to give a 3-hour seminar, maybe once a month, in our location to the residents of Jersey City. Here, individuals will learn about cannabis, its uses, get a glimpse into the cannabis industry, and these people will leave with a basic knowledge of cannabis, continuing educational services, a full list of every dispensary in the state of New Jersey, and their contact information. Our company's growth will be shared throughout the city, and given the opportunity to serve our community in this new capacity, we pledge that Garden Greens will be a Class A establishment.
So I think you've said a lot of things that we would want to hear. One, that you're willing to work with the HDSID, because I know that Rachel has worked tirelessly on this renovation, and she's done a lot of good work, and she's like the protector of the plaza.
Yes.
So I think
I thought it was
great.
Plaza Police, but I
The Plaza Police.
So I saw that you had a letter of support from her. I saw you had one from another local business that's been there for almost 60 years, I believe, from Morley's. And then I've never met Sherry Singh, but I've heard a lot of good things about her. And I saw you had a letter from Sherry. So
Yeah.
I don't know if any of my other board members have questions.
Sherry is sitting right there.
Oh, well, hello,
Yeah.
Sherry. Nice to meet you. Do you guys have any other questions, or can we move on to another witness?
I think we can move to another.
I have just, sorry, your race,
Has to ask,
nationality,
please.
ethnic group.
Yes, Puerto Rican and white.
Thank you. All right, so any members of the public have any questions on the testimony that Mr. Markey has given thus far? Hearing none, seeing, that's a public comment. We'll get to you, sir. I promise, yeah. Hearing none, seeing none, next witness.
My next witness is Sherry Singh, who's present.
Would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony about to give you the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right, you may have to speak up. Please state your name, spell your last name slowly, and give us your address.
Sherry Singh, Singh, 194 Newark Avenue.
Your witness.
Can you please tell us how long have you known Brian Markey?
I met Brian Markey, I think, when his cousin was alive, and he started to come to the store. I hadn't had any personal contact with him at that time because I used to deal with his cousin Sharon. I love to buy jewelry from the pawn shop. God help me and forgive me. But that's how I met them. And my business at that time, the pawn shop was in the building at 194. I'm above them, so yes, that's how I got to know them, and I got to know his cousin very well. But personally meeting Brian, I think was in 2010, was when Brian came in and. With the unfortunate incident with his cousin, Brian took over. And from 2010 until now, I always tell people that I'm very lucky to meet someone like Brian. We talked a lot about my son. I have taken my son to the store. There's a few businesses downtown that, and he's one of them that don't, if my son goes in and touch the counter, well, he won't get upset. My son has severe autism. And he's 36 years old. But Brian has always been supporting of, with my son. And 7 years ago, I started Whole Spectrum Autism to bring education and acceptance in the community here in Jersey City. And Brian has been on board with me from day one. He's became a board member and support the whole spectrum autism, especially the education part of it, which we are starting in the next few weeks. So he has always been there and very supportive of everything that we do.
So are you in support of Brian's new venture as a cannabis retailer?
As a mother with an adult son with autism, I have met a few people, out of the few, two very good ones. I won't mention the other name, but I mentioned Brian is one of them that I have met. That my son have a lot of severe behavior issue. So about 5 years ago, his doctor did recommend medical marijuana. So we actually saw a doctor who prescribed medical marijuana to my son. So he's been on the medical marijuana off and on, off and on. And I wanted to learn more about it, educate myself, but running 3 to 4 businesses and, being a mother of an autistic child is difficult for me to actually go out and able to, educate myself by attending classes and stuff. So Brian has been very informative in that. And also there's another person who's helped me to learn more about the strain, what is good for him, what's not good for him. And I'll be honest, and I shouldn't say this out in public, there was a time that we couldn't get the marijuana for my son through COVID. We actually, someone recommended me to a place a little past 8 months, a year almost, and that marijuana almost killed my son. He gotten so sick from it, and Brian has been there with me, and has been trying to educate me and trying to help my family and myself to make sure that we are getting safe and proper product, and telling me where to go and what I should do. So yes, I'm 100% with Brian.
And I know you're speaking as a character witness, but you also are a business owner on Newark Avenue, right?
For 25 years, going on to 26, yes. And I'm also the secretary of the HDSID.
You got that? You said it right.
So I think you're sharing with us in all of those capacities your feedback.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Any other questions from board members for Ms. Singh? Hearing none, seeing none. Questions from the public as to the testimony? Ms. Singh, hearing none, seeing none. Next witness.
I have no further witness.
All right. Now, we will open it for public comment. There is a limit of 3 minutes. Would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You can put your hand down. Please state your name, spell your last name slowly, and give us your address.
Frank Robertson, ROBERTSON, 1708 Kennedy Boulevard in Union City, New Jersey. I actually helped Brian with the IT part of this QR code, and the QR code actually does retain actually the IP addresses of cells that actually scan it. So if you have a cell phone and it's scanned, it shows even to the state that it shows that it's an IP address, which is 95% of the scans will come from this QR code. So that's actually how it is actually retained, but it's just the IP address from the cell phones. So it's not actually saying who it is, but it does show that it's coming from that scan because I actually wrote the code.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lorenzo. All right, Mr. Lorenzo, what would you like to tell the board?
Good evening again, and I would like to speak in opposition to this application based on the location, not the business itself, but the location. If my memory serves me correct, you have Jim Alone, then you have the bank, and then there's Smart Start Academy. The proximity to Smart Start Academy is inappropriate for this application. Even the program for the autistic children, which from what I understand is next door, I feel is inappropriate. And I think it should be on Tunnelly Avenue or Route 440 or a heavy commercial area in Jersey City. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lorenzo.
Anyone else? Hearing none, come on up. Good evening, sir. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm the testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
You can put your hand down. Please state your name, spell your last name, and give us your address.
My name is Ike Adams. Ike Adams is my name, Adams. I live 270 Marin Boulevard in Jersey City, a lifelong resident of Jersey City. I live approximately a quarter mile, maybe a little bit more from from Gemalone, the location where the dispensary is supposed to be. I speak up in favor for the dispensary. I speak up for a great character witness for Brian, who's opening up the dispensary. I think he's a great guy. I think he's been there for more than the 10 or the 12 years. I feel like I knew him forever. I had an old watch a long time ago that I thought was real. It was a Movado. I thought it was 18 karat gold around the bezel and stuff. And it was a long time ago. And I think I needed $300 or something. And he told me that it was just 18 karat plated or whatever. But he still gave me the money anyway and held on to the watch. I later on, I don't even know if he remembers that. But, just being in a community and seeing him in action, I mean, I see him supporting a lot of political affairs and so on. And I see a lot of, I have a kid in the Jersey City Baseball League, downtown Jersey City, and, he supports the baseball leagues. I've seen him mentoring kids before, suggesting that they go for the Jersey City Police Department or the fire department and represent the city that they grew up in. He's a great guy. I'm in full support of him. I believe that he would have his security directing traffic properly out there on Newark and Jersey Avenue. He's doing it already. So I don't think that, him opening up the dispensary would be too far of a throw for him to be able to control the traffic the way he's already been controlling the traffic. He has good support in that area. The police already know him, so I'm sure that they'll be looking out, for the business and the traffic that's there. I just think that, for this person to do that, I think I could support it in that case. I mean, I don't find him to be too reckless. I think he would be responsible there.
He's reckless, but not too reckless.
Well, it's a busy intersection already as it is. I mean, even though there's a daycare center across the street, they're babies. They're not going to have no clue as to what's really going on over there. I just know that he would keep it safe and he would direct traffic properly. And just from him being there so long, I believe that, yes, I'm done. I just believe that he would have help without even asking for the help.
Thank you.
Mr. Adams.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
All right, hearing none, seeing none, we'll close the public portion. Back to the dais for discussion.
So is it safe to I mean, you worked with the HDSID, obviously, as Sherry attested to, and you have the letter from Rachel, and you have a letter from another business, which I mentioned. So you have met with the community, and these signs are in your windows. So obviously, it's clear what you're trying to do. Have you had any opposition?
I haven't had any pushback from anyone. I actually about a month ago. I actually went and sat and spoke with Councilman Solomon, informing him of the project and our progress and how we're going to speak in front of the Cannabis Control Board. And I offered to update him on our progress as we move forward. And if there's any questions or concerns with local organizations, that I would be proud to address those with him.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think, you've been there for a long time. And as your character witnesses have said, the police officers, the neighbors, you kind of know what goes on down there. So I think I'm satisfied. But if any of you have any questions, please.
I'm actually sad to see Gemma leaving. I mean, but it's been years. I mean, I don't even know Gemma. I love them.
We'll be right next door.
But I get it.
I watched them leave Lexington and West Side.
Yeah. But
Actually, who's the 24-hour contact? Is that you?
that's myself, yes.
Okay.
yeah. But I think with that said, it's a really a good application. You clearly are a very responsible business person. I mean, I see the way you operate inside the store and such. And I've known that business and that place and your business forever. And think that you will create a safe environment going forward, especially being on that, well, it was the Greenway, but no more. But being in that space, that's a big responsibility
Yes.
because of the entertainment zone and just everything that's going on there. So I'd like to make the motion to approve your application.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Chairperson Bunny,
Yes.
Commissioner Sally Perkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Sloan,
Yes.
Commissioner Flanagan.
Motion carries. Congratulations. Best
Congratulations. We're just going to take a 5-minute break so the stenographer can rest her fingers, and we'll reconvene in about 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Because I'm gonna. Good luck with it.
So Canopy right here today, is that public, so that in September will be review residents have an opportunity to speak, or is the public portion closed?
So that's a question for Ron, but I would say since I specifically said that that was the concern and why I was tabling it, that we would allow them to
I
speak.
just want to make sure, because I've heard it before where public portion is not, like for Hate Them Medusa, right? He said it here like 4 times, so obviously it wasn't open to everyone.
Well, but if you remember, we did allow the attorney to speak.
Right.
We did. There was, Ron will be back and he can answer the question, but I did specifically state that that was why.
I just like to get the procedure right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think if Aunt Mary's wants to start making their way up here and setting up, that's fine. Is there someone from Aunt Mary's? Okay, yeah, if you guys want to start making your way up, please. Ron, if you want to come up and ask Ron the question, that's fine. Go ahead.
you want us to open the public portion for Canopy? Is that what you're asking?
No, he's asking what will happen. I said I believe it should be open because I said that that's why I was concerned.
Yeah, so
Did we close it for the, or sorry, did you close it?
what'll happen is there will be additional testimony. So then folks will be able to ask questions about that additional testimony, and there'll be public comment.
And there will be closed here.
Okay, thank you.
And just make sure you
Okay, everyone, we are going to get started because it's 7:08 and we don't want to be here all night, and we're not going to keep the stenographer. It's too late, so.
Awesome, Counselor, would you please enter your appearance into the record?
Yes, good evening. Sean Mack of Pashman Stein. Are we on? Great. Are you able to hear me?
No.
Oh, there we now it's green. There we go. Sorry about that. Sean Mack of Pashman Stein Walter Hayden on behalf of Aunt Mary's Inc. And just briefly, I'll give you a little introduction. This is a retail dispensary application, 706-710 Bergen Avenue. We are not seeking consumption, so just simply retail sales. I hope you can see from our submissions, we put a lot of effort into the submissions to try to really lay out everything we plan to do, to give you a real sense of what the plan is, including floor plans and a detailed security plan. And hopefully that addressed a lot of the concerns you may have. In addition to the required elements, we submitted letters of intent that my clients entered into with several community organizations, including Scores Reentry, Triangle Park Community Center, Deliverance Children's Ministry, and Haven Adolescent Community Respite Center. We also submitted letters of support from the UFCW, a local union that we'll be working with. In support of our application, we had planned to present 5 witnesses tonight. Unfortunately, we've had a string of bad luck. With me tonight is Shital Patel, who is a 95% owner of the company. We also plan to have our nephew, Raj Patel, testify. Raj is going to be the day-to-day manager. And Commissioner, to answer your question, he's the 24-hour contact for the facility.
So your 5 witnesses aren't here?
We don't have everybody. Raj has a family emergency in India. So
do you still want to move forward tonight?
I think we do want to move forward. Ms. Patel can testify to a lot of this. If there are questions at the end of this and you feel like you need more information, then I guess carry us over. But I think we can move through this still. Raj currently lives in South Jersey, but if we do get approved for licensure, he's intending to move up here to the Jersey City area, whether in Jersey City or surrounding town. We also plan to have Alex Pereira testify. You'll hear from Ms. Patel. He is an experienced cannabis operator out in the West Coast, and so he's somebody to bring in with experience. We were flying him out here, and he came down with COVID Friday night, so he could not make the flight out here. We also had two local community organizers, Amy Wilson and Priscilla Carmona, who are hoping to be here, and neither of them could be here because of scheduling conflicts. They both sent me letters. If it's okay with the board, I'd like to just supplement our application with the letters and just read them quickly into the record.
Yeah, you can give them to us.
Can I ask? I mean, it seems there's a number of significant things that are missing, especially the operations person or the manager of the day-to-day, and all the other witnesses of whom we won't have the opportunity to speak with. So I'm just asking, Chair, should we be proceeding forward or should we?
I think what we should do, I mean, she has said she wants to proceed, so let's hear what she has to say and make a decision after that, I guess, is probably.
Thank you. Good to see you, Sean.
There's a lot of moving parts that are not present, is all I'm just saying.
Well, we certainly could listen to this testimony, and if the board's inclined to carry it to hear the remaining testimony, that's the board's prerogative.
And it would make the next meeting, our presentation, shorter, because we'll finish with Ms. Patel and this information, so we can make it more efficient next time if we need to. So if it's okay, I'm going to read first the letter from Amy Wilson. To whom it may concern.
You don't have to read it. We
Don't
can,
have to read
if you want to give us a minute, I think we can just quickly read it.
Sure.
While the board members are reading that, I'll just indicate that one letter is dated August 5th, 2022, from an Amy Wilson, the founder of JC MAS, and the other is undated. However, it's from a Priscilla Carmona from Scores Reentry. And that one is addressed to the mayor and the city council, and the other one is simply to whom it may concern. May we continue?
I'm ready.
All right, Mr. Mack, back to you.
Yes, we're going to start with Ms. Patel's testimony, and just so that the board understands, English is not her first language, so we're going to do our best with the best we can.
All right, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony about to give be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You can put your hand down. Please state your name, spell your last name, and give us your address.
My name is Sital Patel. Last name is Patel, Patel. My address is 2 Sire Drive, Wallingford, Connecticut.
Did you get that address? Because I did not.
2 Sire Drive, Wallingford,
In Connecticut.
in Connecticut.
All right, your witness, Mr. Mack.
Thank you. Ms. Patel, can you tell the board who are the people that make up the Aunt Mary's team currently?
I am 95% owner and 5% of Tejal Patel,
And that's spelled Tejal?
Tejal.
Okay.
And my nephew Raj Patel is going to be day-to-day managed dispensary. And also we hired Alex as a manager. And he had a experience for cannabis. He has lots of experience from cannabis from West Coast. And we also hire a woman from Jersey City. And we also talk with her.
So, Mr. Mack, if there is something that we can't fully understand, perhaps you can elaborate on the testimony that your client just gave.
Yeah, be happy to. And to be clear, so it's Tejal Patel, Tejal, was a New Jersey resident who owns 5% of the business. As she
He's
said,
a Jersey City resident?
New Jersey resident.
New Jersey, okay.
Raj Patel, her nephew, as I said before, is the day-to-day manager of the business. And she mentioned Alex from the West Coast. His last name is Pereira, and he'll be, again, really training most of the staff on proper procedures, best practices, that kind of thing. And then they're in talks with a woman in Jersey City. And how did you come into contact with the woman from Jersey City that you're talking to?
It's like we have committee member, and they're gonna introduce us to.
So one of the community organizations that they're working with introduced them
Yes.
to her. Can you tell the board?
So I just want to, I think, so right now there's no one in Jersey City connected to this business at all.
With the current team, no.
Okay.
But
I just want to, because it's and plus with the mask, it's very hard to, because you can't see when someone's speaking, and so you can kind of read lips sometimes. It's helpful.
You can wear the mask.
You can
It's
wear the
okay.
mask. I'm saying for me, so I'm just asking for clarification. I'm not going to ask anyone not to protect themselves. I want to just say that for me, I'm deaf in my left ear, so sometimes it's difficult for me because I try to read lips. So I wanted to clarify that because Connecticut, 95% owner, 5% someone somewhere in New Jersey, but then someone else will come in and manage this that's not here, and someone from the West Coast is coming here to train everyone. I just want to. And then there's someone that's been hired here, but that person, we don't really know who they are. But it's someone that one of these two organizations has introduced you to.
Yes. And
Okay.
she's in we put her in our materials. We have not signed a contract with her yet.
Okay.
So we're still in conversations with her about hiring her. And Ms. Patel will talk about their plans for hiring local, those sorts of things, expanding the team when we get there. First, could you tell the board a little bit about your personal work experience?
I'm on the liquor store and manage, and we go been less than 20 years, and I make sure not to sell a minor, check ID, and sure to make sure not to sell minor.
Okay. And so, if I've heard you correctly, you've said that you've owned a liquor store for 20 years,
Yeah, less than 20 years.
and during that time you've never had a problem selling alcohol to minors.
No, never.
And you said you were the manager of that liquor store.
Yes.
And have you managed the store by yourself?
Yes.
And what steps did you take to ensure that employees did not sell alcohol to minors?
The sorry.
Maybe it would help if she gets a little closer to the mic. I think that's.
To make sure to not purchase to minor, and educated to customer to not they check the to employ to check the 3 different people check the ID from.
I'm sorry. When you operated the liquor store.
Oh, when I make sure to check the ID, because to make sure not sell minors to type ID, because my store is nearby the college area. That's why.
Okay, so if I heard you right, you required 2 forms of ID at your liquor store because it was a nearby college.
Yes.
As a way of avoiding sales to minors.
Yes.
Okay. And what role will you have with Aunt Mary's?
I'm management, overall management, and make the decision.
And can you briefly explain what the company has done in terms of security for the building?
We hired Sapphire Risk to review our plan, and
It's okay. I know you're nervous. It's okay.
yeah, I'm nervous. They have been experienced nationally developed cannabis secured company, and also we go with we have planned to go to our overall to give the police department, Jersey City Police Department also, and make sure the plan develop.
So I heard you correct. You've hired Sapphire Risk Management to do your plan, correct?
Yes.
And you're going to have that plan reviewed by the Jersey City Police Department. Is that right?
Yes.
Will you have security guards on the premise?
Yes.
And those guards will not have guns, correct?
No.
Will those guards also be responsible to make sure that people don't loiter outside? They don't just stand around outside the building?
No.
So that the guards will make sure that people don't do that?
Yes. Don't do that. Yeah.
Yeah. The next areas I want to talk to you about are the company's hiring plans and workforce development plans and social equity plans. Let me start with a simple question. How many employees do you plan to hire the first year?
20.
20 employees. Do you plan on hiring employees from Jersey City?
Yes.
And if you can hire all of your employees from Jersey City, will you do that?
Yes.
I would assume because you're working with scores, right? They're going to be helping you through that process, correct?
Yeah.
You took my next question. And do you plan to try to hire an ethnically, racially, and socially economically diverse workforce?
Yes.
And can you talk about your plans? Do you plan to work with Scores Reentry to hire people with former incarcerations?
Yes.
Among the documents the company submitted to the board was a community impact and social equity plan. And I know it talks about 4 different pieces. I just want you to summarize some of these briefly. The first part talks about monetary donations as part of your community impact plan. Can you just explain what monetary donations you're talking about doing?
We're doing, so far, what we do.
You can talk about what you've already done and what you're planning to do.
Yeah. We already donate food drive and the school supply for kids back to school for sports and Triangle Park, and we also give them our time to charity.
Can I ask how you met these organizations? Because I think one of them is pretty new, and if you live in Connecticut, how are you, like, how'd you meet these people in Jersey City? I guess is what I'm trying to understand.
If I can jump in, my firm itself has a lot of connections, and my family grew up in Jersey City. My grandma was here until she was 90 on Pavonia Avenue. Amy Wilson is friendly with a number of people in my firm, and so we first connected them with Amy about a year ago because we knew she was very well connected in the community, and from that, my clients have been working with her and sort of step by step, meet one person, network, meet somebody else, and trying to take advantage of those connections.
I do think, I think Courtney's probably right. We should table just because with English being a second language and us not being able to hear her and also just everyone else not being here to answer the questions, rather than continuing to go on, I think we should just table the application. Just to give you guys time to get your people together and come back in front of the board in September.
Before the board does that, could I just simply ask race, nationality, ethnic group?
India, I'm from India, India born.
Thank you.
So I'm making a motion to table, to be clear.
Is there a second?
I'd second that one.
Okay. Roll call.
Chairperson Bunny,
Yes.
Commissioner Sally Perkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Sloan, Commissioner Flanagan.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Mack, so the motion carries. We will see you back here in September with additional witnesses, but thank you for your time.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, if we could, CCB 22-21 Bud Space LLC.
Almost done. I know, I'm so close. I know.
All right, so this is, I think, our last one for the night.
Yes.
Counselor, please enter your appearance into the record.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Cabrera. I am with the firm of Vicente Cedarberg, LLP, and I am here to represent Bud Space, LLC.
Briefly tell the board why you're here and who's going to be testifying.
So Bud Space, LLC is a certified minority and woman-owned business that is looking to build a dispensary at 270 Newark Avenue. We've submitted an application to to Jersey City on June 16th, supplemented on July 1st. This is our first appearance before the CCB. I am joined by two representatives of the client. These include Mukesh Patel, to my immediate left, as well as Raj Mudar at the far end. I'm also joined by Steve Pemberton of my firm. Just to clarify, Bud Space, the entity, is 70.5% owned by a woman named Ankita Shah, who unfortunately is finishing her vacation today. We only found out about being on the agenda last week, and she could not change her plans with her family. However, Ms. Shah, though she's a longtime New Jersey resident, I can provide information about her. She has no cannabis experience and has chosen to enter an agreement with a management services company called Greenbuds. Greenbuds is owned and operated by Mr. Mudar, who also has strong Jersey City connections. He is able to speak on community engagement matters as well as the financial and business side. Mr. Patel, to my immediate left here, is a operations consultant, also with Greenbuds, and is able to speak to operations and security issues. So I believe that we're well placed to answer any questions that the board might have.
So I'm sorry, with respect to Ankita, her race, nationality, or ethnic group?
She is South Asian, Indian, and a female.
Thank you. Anything else before you call the first witness?
No, nothing.
All right, who's going to be testifying next?
That would be Raj Mudar.
Would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear affirm testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You can put your hand down. Please state your name, spell your last name slowly, and give us your address.
My name is Raj Mudar. Last name is Mudhar. Address is 55 Wayne Street, Unit 1, Jersey City.
Your witness.
Okay. Mr. Mudar, so you are a long-term Jersey City resident, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Could you tell us a bit about the community outreach efforts that you've made so far?
Absolutely. I will answer your question, but to start off, let me introduce myself. My name is Raj, and I'm actually the founder of Greenbuds. I reside in Jersey City and have been working here for almost 8 years now. I have been working in the property development industry in Jersey City and all throughout New Jersey. I'm looking forward to this new endeavor by creating a facility that is welcoming, aesthetically pleasing, and beautifully integrated within its neighborhood. And to answer your question, we've actually have been in conversations with 2 Jersey City organizational groups called Sarah's Daughter and Redemption House. Sarah's Daughter is an organization that provides counseling and mentoring to families and women that have gone through domestic violence. And Redemption House is an organization that helps homelessness and at the same time integrates community engagement and job placement.
So I just have a question because on the application it says you live in Monroe.
That might be
Is
clerical error.
That's Nilu.
Sorry, I believe that's that's a typo in the application.
Oh, okay.
Should be
Okay.
Apologies.
Yeah.
Understood.
That is correct.
Does anyone else have an ownership stake?
Yes, there are, I believe, 6 other owners who all have under 5% interest in the company and are not involved in the management or control of the entity.
None of the other owners are present, and the 2 of you are consultants.
One of the other owners is present, if you would like to hear from her.
Oh, okay.
Well, it says, so what's your name?
Raj
Oh,
Mudar.
Raj. Okay.
So Rod's a consultant.
He's the founder of the management company Greenbuds, which is going to be running the business under the guidance of Ms. Shaw.
But it's a third-party
It's a
entity.
third-party
That is
entity.
correct.
Yeah. So it's not part of the group. So what we're talking with is you and then 2 consultants of this business.
But it's a step above a consultant.
Okay.
Because under the state regulations, to be a management services contractor, you are really limited in how many groups you can work with and really how much you're very limited also in the financial arrangements you can have with the company. So it's not like my firm, which can be a vendor and provide licensing or application services to every applicant in the state. This group is working with BudSpace specifically and is going to be handling provides all of the cannabis knowledge and experience and real estate knowledge and experience that they need.
So they share in the liability and the
They do, but they do not share
your
in
business.
ownership because they are prohibited from doing so under state regulation.
So maybe for me, it would be really helpful to understand, because you said you worked in Jersey City for 8 years doing cannabis management in a place where there's no cannabis.
Sorry.
So just,
Yep, let me clarify.
Yeah.
That was a property development
Okay.
for the last 2 years, real
and
estate.
so is this your first management role of managing someone else's cannabis store, or do you do this?
Cannabis, yes.
Okay.
Cannabis, yes.
Okay.
However, Mukesh Patel, who is also with Green Buds, has a great deal of cannabis experience.
Okay. Yeah, no, it'd be great to hear about the company that's going to be managing the business for the owner who's already not here.
So who is the 24-hour contact? Is that you?
That will be me, yes.
And so are you related to this other person who is, I thought that was you. I guess I misunderstood. So the person who has the same last name as you, are you related to that person?
Yes.
Okay.
Neelu Mudar is an owner of 4.1% of the company. She is not involved in.
Yeah, I'm just concerned that the person who owns 70.5% of this business isn't here. And if you guys had told us that, we would have been happy to carry it to the September meeting.
I actually did raise it with Mr. Mondello, and he suggested coming in and bringing it to the board's attention and seeing how we wanted to proceed. We are able to speak to this, but I defer to the board how you'd like to handle.
I just want to say, like, I feel very uncomfortable because now currently, as you're coming to me, I feel an absentee ownership. And that's like really uncomfortable for me to continue the conversation. I would rather table this and see and meet the owner than feel that I'm walking into I don't like it when the landlord's not present in a situation, absentee landlord. This feels very absentee ownership in this current makeup.
I do agree 100%. And there's nothing wrong. I mean, you all are doing great, but it's just there's a missing, right?
No, I
There's-
understand, yeah.
So, Chair?
You're free to speak.
I think I've spoken. I'm just where are we? What do
So I would move to table this.
So will you motion to do that?
Make a motion to move to table this application because I feel that we might not get everything we need. And I think having public hearing as part of a conversation is more helpful than not.
Would it be helpful to cover any of the many topics that these two witnesses are able to testify to, especially since we've now been here for several hours? Would that be helpful to you, or do you want to just go through the entire process next month?
I feel it's more beneficial to you to go through the entire process next month because I feel that, and this is my, everyone else has a voice and a vote here. So, but I feel if I hire a management consultant firm that's going to work on my behalf, and we're already a little confused at the front end for greater clarity, the owner of a pretty large business, because you don't want to go through this and then us, not pass you. And then it could be, related to us not having what we need from the ownership. And I just think it's more beneficial to have a full team, just like the last group. I feel like it's.
So there is a motion to table. Is there a second?
I second.
Roll call.
Chairperson Boney.
So, I would be open to hearing what they have to say since they did wait, but if you guys want a table, that's your choice.
Is that a no?
That's a no.
Yeah, it's a no that I would hear them, yes. I would listen to so yes, it's a no.
Commissioner Sally Perkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Sloan.
Yes to tabling this application until the next month.
Commissioner Flanagan.
Yes.
All right, the motion carries, and we will see you in September.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Me too.
So we're not hearing any more applications, but the board does still have a couple things to do, so you're welcome to stay if you want to, or go.
May I continue with the resolutions?
Yes.
All right. In the matter of Medusa, I did circulate this fairly comprehensive resolution. I'd ask for a motion followed by a second to memorialize.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have to recuse myself.
Stacy has to recuse herself. I make a motion to approve.
Is there a second? All right. Chairwoman Bunny,
Yes.
Commissioner Sally Perkins.
Oh, Maynard can do the roll
Oh,
call.
I'm well. I don't think he knows who can vote. Would I be correct in that, or because you certainly can do
Well,
it?
we all can vote on. I know what I think. We all know what we can't vote on.
Well, we can go through the roll call and just don't, if you can't vote, just say you
Okay.
abstain.
So go ahead, Maynard.
Okay. So Chairperson Bunny,
Yes.
Commissioner Sally Perkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Sloan,
She was absent.
Is that one?
That's when
No,
that's
the
Medusa.
I was here for Medusa.
No, when we
It was
finalized
decided on
last
July
week.
25th.
When we yeah, he wasn't here for the final.
Okay.
She's absent. Yep. Oh, yeah. It's a majority of those eligible to vote. The motion carries. With respect to decades, I would need a motion followed by a second.
Motion to approve.
A second.
Chairperson Bunny,
Yes.
Commissioner Sally Perkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Sloan,
It was decided June 13th, so you were here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Commissioner Flanagan.
Yes.
Motion carries. In the matter of Jersey Leaf, I would need a motion followed by a second.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Chairperson Bunny,
Yes.
Commissioner Sally Perkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Sloan, Commissioner Flanagan.
Yes.
Motion carries. In the matter of Butler Baldwin, I need a motion followed by a second.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Chairperson Bunny,
Yes.
Commissioner Sally Perkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Sloan, Commissioner Flanagan.
Yes.
Motion carries. In the matter of Euphoria,
I have to recuse myself from this, so.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
all right.
Commissioner Sally Perkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Sloan,
I believe you abstained from this vote.
Oh, yeah, we both abstained.
you did.
Yeah.
That was, oh, man.
So it would be Jeffrey, who's not here, and Stacy, and then Glenda. Those are the three eligible, and we have two, so it would.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Oceanfront Holdings, I need a motion followed by a second.
Motion to approve.
A second.
Chairperson Bunny,
Yes.
Commissioner Sally Perkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Sloan,
She was absent for the July 25th meeting.
Commissioner Flanagan.
Yes.
Motion carries. The Cannabis Place 420, motion and a
I
second.
have to recuse myself from this one as well.
Yep.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. Commissioner Sally Perkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Sloan, Commissioner Flanagan.
Yes.
Motion carries. That's the end of the resolution.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Oh, can I just request, just because of the actions that just occurred here, that if someone comes and they don't have, like, I feel pretty strongly about having your majority owner here to represent you. And if they don't have that, to let us know in advance so that we can add another applicant to the schedule, or to just make it very clear that I think it's important. And this is a big business, and a lot of people want this business, and I think if they're not able to show, then we should.
And I apologize, that's my fault. I had indicated to the attorney that, all right, you have these other witnesses, perhaps we could get through them and then have the owner, return at a subsequent date, so.
We'll make that clear when we confirm with the applicants, just because, this also delays future meetings. At the next meeting,
Right,
we're going to be
yeah.
pushing other applicants back.
To
we have
be
to keep
clear,
that in
though, we still would have made them appear because it was less than 2 weeks, so they would have had to come anyway. But in the event something like this happened, instead of them sitting here for 2.5 hours, she should have just come up and explained to us, and we could have moved them to the front to
Right, but we
table.
could- in those instances, we could just have an
Yeah, no,
attorney appear at
in
the
an
end.
ideal world, you would know beforehand,
I
but
think even if it's not in the ideal world, if the attorney comes and says they're not, they're not able to
Right.
proceed. Sometimes there's witnesses that are traveling
Right.
out of state, which, which isn't fair too. So,
Correct.
yes.
Okay. All right. So. No. Okay. So on that note, I make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you for your help.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Hi. Usually people freak when I say Cookie. I never say Yvonne, but I go by Cookie. So that's why I'm like, Cookie. Thank you. Yes, thank you very much.